and then you can just transfer that into this.
Right. Hey YouTube. So last week I did ball joints on the driver's side of this truck, and I videoed it, but it didn't come out that great. I missed a whole bunch of crap. We're just getting going, so we missed a whole bunch. So I'm going to do this one, hopefully a little better, and show you how to do ball joints. It's a 1999 Ford F250. So yeah, let's get started. So yeah, the first thing that we did is obviously pull the tire off and pull the hub out. This one's got aftermarket Warren hubs. The Ford hubs have just two little tabs here that you just squeeze with a pair of pliers. They pop right out and then the hub comes out. These ones are worn, and you got to pull them out this way. So inside here is a little snap ring deal that we got to pull out, and we can find it. You just kind of work it around. It's like a spiral type of deal. You just work it around. The only reason we leave the bolts in is put the bolts back in is to get it off easier. But you can take it off for this part. So that comes off like that. And the same way to put it back in, you just kind of put an end in, and you can run it around with your fingers. So then this thing comes right out. Probably can't see it, but down in here is your snap ring pliers. Just flip this the other way. Oh, these work fantastic. New snap ring pliers I got on Amazon for 21 bucks. They're reversible, so you can do inner and outers. And they come with a bag of all different kinds of tips. So, good tool right there. Right in front of my stupid head. Sort of were these a metal and two metal and one fiber or something like that?
I think they're all metal.
Alright, so you got a round metal one. I think this one's fiber, but who knows. Put that aside with your lock ring. Okay, so now the next thing to do is we're going to take off this tie rod so that the hub is loose, and then we're going to get the bearing out. So we'll get ready for that.
The battery's dying.
What? Come on. Cock! Perfect. Once that's out, then tie rod will come out. And this one's shot, so he's going to need a new tie rod then. Or tie rod. Oh, of course. There we go. Okay, and now this is all loose. So I got to go plug the battery in for a little while, and then we'll get back to this. I'm going to show you the ball joint here. If you just grab a hold, you can do this with your tire on, and if you get this kind of movement, it is absolutely fried. So we know that's shot, and undid the tie rod over here so that we can move the hub around so we can get to all the bolts. So the next thing we're going to do is pull these bolts off here. If you're wondering also, there's a heat shield or a dust shield that goes in here. That's rotted off this truck a long time ago. Probably should put a new one in, but just haven't done it. So if you're seeing this and you see how I got all this room here, it's because the dust shield is gone. But anyways, we're going to get to this right now. Okay, so once you got the tie rod off, I like to use an impact with a shorter, mid-size extension and a 13/16. The 13/16 is the same that takes off the caliper bracket as well as the tie rod end. And then they also take these 4 bolts off.
And the lug nuts.
Oh, and the lug nuts, yeah. And these bolts are located behind the hub. If you turn, you might have to turn your axle a little bit to, to get the socket in there. But once you find it, get right out. All right, so air compressor came on, so we didn't film it, but without the extension, the socket fits in here without too much trouble, and the air gun. And over here with the extension, it fits in there just nice and easy. These have been off over the summer, so they should come off pretty easy. In fact, I got to move here. But you might need to get something to, pound in here, some sort of a chisel or something to break the bond. But we're just tapping on the back of them here. you can see it starting to come out. There's a seal inside here that you gotta get hung up on. Alright, if you just work it back and forth, it'll come out. Eventually. There it goes. Okay, so once you get the bearing out, you know, now's a good time to inspect it. You got two bearings. This bigger outer one here, I mean the whole thing comes as one unit, but this big outer one here is for when the truck is out of four-wheel drive, and this inner one here spins when the truck is in four-wheel drive. And this one is just pressed in here. You can actually get to it with a socket on an extension and just pound it out and replace just that bearing if you need to. So if you notice your truck is making some noise in four-wheel drive on the bearings, it's this one. If it's making the noise in two-wheel drive, it's this one, and you have to replace the whole hub. These can go anywhere from, like we were just talking about, 60 bucks on eBay all the way up to $1,100 depending on what kind you want. So that's that. On the last video that I did about changing universal joints, I got a couple of questions on how to remove this seal. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can get in behind here with a screwdriver and tap on it, and it'll pop out. You just got to be careful not to you know, mar it up. But then I saw another way. If you just hit the back of the universal joint, hold on the axle, and just tap on it. You can see that the seal is starting to move out. So just got to wrap on this a few more times. And the seal comes right out with the whole axle. And like I said, we did these universal joints a little while ago, so they're in good shape. No movement on those. And the seal, we'll just take this off and clean this up and reuse it again. Alright. Okay. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is you got to take the pin out of the castle nut, and ours was, you just fried, so we broke it off. Ends are sticking out. If you don't have a torch, because sometimes these are really tight, if you don't have a torch, MAP gas torch and then PB blaster, heat up the nut and hit it with a PB blaster, and then the nut comes apart. So just kind of put this on here and broke that nut loose and broke the cotter pin and everything. So doesn't matter what you do to these threads, they're on the new ball joint. So the one thing you want to do is this big spacer right here, this controls your camber for when you get your truck aligned. We're not going to pull this out. You can get a wedge in behind here and pop these out, but if you pull them out, then you're going to have to get alignment and get it all fixed. If you leave it right where they were, pull this bottom nut out, you can pull this whole thing out and put the new one in without disrupting that at all. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, so for these nuts I'm just hitting them with a little bit of MAP gas, you know, 30 seconds or so. Warm up that nut. Hopefully it'll grow a little bit. And then throw a little bit of penetrating oil at it. And then use a oversized ratchet, and I have a jack handle on here for some extra pull. And hopefully, yeah, get that nut go loose. These shouldn't be that overly tight on here, but you know, I don't think these have been changed since the truck was new. So I've been on there since 1999. That's good. Alright, so this is ready to come off. Got that nut off. I'm just putting this one on here, a couple threads, because when I smash this a few times, beat on this, it'll fall out and land on my toe. So put that on, and I gotta get my big hammer.
That's over there. Shite.
And hopefully with any luck this thing will pop off. Oh boy. This one is tight. Okay, with a lot of swearing and a little bit of heat, smash this a bunch of times and it falls out. But you can see that these ball joints aren't supposed to move, so they're screwed up. So we're going to take it over to the bench, clean all this crap up, and put in some new ones. Okay, now with your ball or your hub in the vise, just grab this snap ring, pull that out, get a new one in the kit. This one can get pressed out. Be able to press this one out now. So we'll do that now. Okay, in your kit comes your upper ball joint, your lower ball joint, C-clip for the lower ball joint, C-clip for the upper ball joint, but we don't need one because this one goes in flush and you don't use it. Some applications that goes all the way through and you put it in. A Zerk fitting for one and a Zerk fitting for the other. This one is for, I believe this one is for the top, and I don't think we can use it because I think on this truck the axle comes in contact with it, but we'll check it in a minute. Alright, so then we're going to put this clamp on here like so. Oh, there it goes. I'll let you get to go. Put some air on it, get it to go the rest of the way. And again, this is the top one. We're just going to tighten this. And you hear it pop like that. That means it's coming loose. And this is about as far as we can go because this sleeve isn't long enough. So I'm going to take my air hammer in this side and work it out the rest of the way. Okay. Alright, now that both ball joints are in, you can see the top one here is just flush. You don't put the snap ring in it. Bottom one you do. And then I just cleaned out the inside here where the seal goes so it'll slide in nice and easy. And then all we got to do is, remember I didn't move this at all, so we shouldn't have to have any alignment issues. And I didn't loosen any of this either, so we shouldn't have any alignment issues. So it should just go back together. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten these down and just keep feeling this, and when it gets tight on me then I've gone enough, and then we'll just locate that hole and put the new cotter pin in, so we'll pick it up from there. Okay. Alright, once the axle's in, I just went around with a screwdriver and just tapped the edge of this seal to make sure it was seated, and it is. And then the next thing to go is the bearing assembly. Bearing assembly is just nice and easy. Fits right in here. And tighten up the nuts, draw it in equally on either side, and then we'll go ahead and put the hub back on. Okay, now that the bearing is back in place and tightened down, I got ahead of ourselves and put this on first, so I popped that back off so I can move this around to get everything. So put that all back together, and now we got our three washers, 2 washers and 1 spacer, and C-clip here, This goes back on. Come on. Come on, little guy. There you go. And I'll just hit this with a screwdriver to make sure it's in the hole. And it is. Alright, so that's good to go. Next thing to do is, what do we got? Brake drum, or brake rotor, and caliper. We'll throw those back on.
Okay.
Okay. Alright, and then put the rotor back on. It should just slide back on because we haven't messed with the pads or anything. Find your hole there. Alright, that's the top one. Bottom one. Alright, so then we just, sometimes these can get a little tricky. You get back in behind here, underneath your universal, and just see how the end of the shaft is moving a little bit. You can kind of just work it around, and you'll get it to the seat. Finally, get that in all the way. Is that even in all the way? Oh yeah, that's the edge right there. Okay, so get that in all the way, and then we put this thing on. This one here. Kind of get it fed in the groove, and with your hand, the other finger, just kind of work it around like this. It fits right in there. And then pop, done. That's in. So pull these out, and then the hub cover goes over the top. And I'm gonna get it all greasy, but whatever, we'll clean that off in a second here. Get these out of here. Okay. Line your tongs up with wherever the hell they go.
You can just spin it and it'll find it, yeah.
Okay. And then there we go. Alright. Tighten these up and then clean this off, put the tire on, and you're good to go. So that's it for this one until we replace this tie rod end. So if you can, please rate, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching.